comes to spiritual practices, a really spiritual time is the full moon, and a really spiritual essential oil is Blue Lotus. So, is Blue Lotus a good oil to use for the full moon? That's what we wanted to have a chat about today because Liz and I, we can see flaws and against. So, Liz, I'm going to start off by saying I can see, and we've talked about Blue Lotus being this very high vibration essential oil. I often refer to it as the high priestess of the flowers, whereas Rose is the queen of the flowers. So it really does help to lift our vibration. And obviously, we reach a spiritual peak each full moon. But what I tend to do on full moons is I lean into the white flowers. I find jasmine to be really quite powerful. I find it transports our wishes to the gods. We can pop a drop in our hands and blow it like a birthday candle. I love Neroli because Neroli helps us to work out how we need to change ourselves and our world to bring in new things. And then oils like tuberose can be really great. And white lotus, possibly, I might use on the full moon. But blue lotus, I wouldn't particularly use. Now, there is one full moon I would use it on. And I'll cover that in a minute. But I want to ask you, in general, blue lotus, full moons, what do you think?
No, I wouldn't have said it was particularly an energetic match if you're using your anchor as this is a full moon ritual. The only couple of reasons I can think of to include Blue Lotus in a full moon ritual is if I were looking to do kind of psychopomp work or connections with the dead, connections with the ancestors. Um, then that would be the right kind of vibration to do it. I have to say, I think I'd be most inclined to choose it. I think it would be powerful if your full moon fell close to the dawn, because the energy of Blue Lotus in its guise Nefertem in the ancient world was that Nefertem was the dawn. So full moon in like be like 6 o'clock in the morning, can't it? And so in those kind of situations, I think that would be really, really powerful to bring those kind of things together, that the dawn would also be coming up at the same time as the moon was full. Then that would be powerful. But I think the only time I would go full moon ritual with Blue Lotus would be for death rites. Yeah.
Mm. I love that idea, and I must admit, we often think of full moons as, it's that evening, the moon is that big silvery orb, and it kind of lights up the earth with that beautiful glow. But I must admit, the night after a full moon, if I've got up kind of early and I'm driving somewhere, or if I'm going for a walk in the bush and it's starting to get light, but I can still see that full moon in the sky, there's something magical about that. And I think even especially if we're wanting to start a new chapter, do new beginnings, that type of thing. I think that would be a great time to grab your Blue Lotus and do your working then, rather than doing it in the middle of the night when, as we said, Blue Lotus doesn't really fit as well. Would you agree?
Yeah, I do. I think that's one of the strangest things about life when there's so many different like descriptions of the moon. You've got waxing moon, waning moon, gibbous moon. Why has nobody ever named the moon that you can see in the day? I think that's so strange because it is the most phenomenon, isn't it? If you imagine like going back to ancient Egypt, that you might have that phenomenon of the moon still being visible as the sun's coming up, and these blue lotus I mean, it's so romantic, isn't it? Just the vision is romantic, and it is a romantic oil. So yeah, I think I'm not sure that it has like magical skills from the point of view of manifestation or any of those things. It definitely does for beauty. It does for definitely does for the dead, for connecting the ancestors, because it seems very clear to me from looking for months and months and months at tombs and different representations that it was all about this is how you contact the ancestors.
Now, there is one particular moon that I would reach for Blue Lotus, and that is, it may seem like a bit of an obvious one to start off with, but the blue moon. Now, it's not because of colors matching, anything like that, although that may have been where I started. But where a blue moon is, there's lots of different definitions of a blue moon. Some people say it's the fourth one in a season. Some people say it's the second one in a calendar month. But I always like to think when we're looking at nature, the Gregorian calendar doesn't fit with the cycles of nature perfectly. And that's why we have to throw in odd numbered months and leap years and all that different thing. For me, a blue moon is when we get a second reoccurring full moon in the same zodiac sign. Because each full moon, being in a different zodiac sign, encourages us to look at a different aspect of our lives, different house of our lives. And in the full moon in Libra, we focus on partnerships. The full moon in Virgo, we look at our physical health and so on. So if we've at the one moon looked at, let's say, the full moon in Libra, we've looked about love. What happened is that we've then had a whole month to see how that magic is unfurled, and then you almost get a second chance. So you get to learn really quickly from what's happened in the last month's working rather than have to wait for another year. But you're also giving it a second dose, so an extra spiritual dose. We've spoken about Blue Lotus helping to raise your vibration, be really quite powerful. And I think it's a great one to bring in to really connect with what does my soul truly want and how is my soul navigating this aspect of life, and bring it in for that kind of second punch or that second round of that full moon energy and second workings as well. And hey, why do it that night? Do it in the morning and bring in that energy that we've discussed as well. Because the blue moon, it's not that the moon is turning blue, it's just a rare occasion. And that's where I reach for Blue Lotus when it comes to full moons.
I like that. I think that's good. Yeah, I think that's good. I think that I particularly like your idea that you look at the different investigations of different houses as you go through the zodiac, and that gives you a well-rounded view of what's happening in your life. But as you say, just every now and then, it's really nice to just say, but also, gosh, look what I did through this year, all the way through, like as a rounded thing. And if you've not got a specified moment where you've got to work on that, and just to kind of sit and say, but also gratitude, but also, gosh, look at this, kind of like a cardinal energy, if you like, that we sit down and go, appreciate where we've been on the blue moon. I like that a lot.
Yeah, thank you. And I think maybe on the blue moon, do it in the morning. Bring in both those energies that we've talked about as well. But I think, yeah, not every full moon. Save that for your Jasmine, which is amazing, or your Neroli, your Tuberose, Gardenia. They're all amazing white lotus on the full moon. But save your blue lotus for those real special occasions. But it's still a spiritual oil, and we even spoke about using it with the god Nefertum in another video as well. So check that out if you're interested in that. But we'll be back soon to explore more about amazing essential oils. Until then, take care and blessed be.
Bye bye.